You're live.
Good afternoon. This is the Senate Education Committee at the Canaan Elementary through High School. We are back after a break. We met this morning with a student panel, and we're here this afternoon with a teacher panel. And just to sort of recap for people who might be watching on YouTube who didn't see the first part, we're visiting. We have tried to get out during the session in the past to visit schools, and the session gets so hectic that there's no way to. We tried to go to the Montpelier High School that we could see from where we are. So we have realized that if we're going to get out to schools, we do it out when we're not in session. And this is the first of 5 stops. We're going to visit 5 districts, and just they're somewhat, they're different, and just really get a feel from students, teachers, principals, and then members of the public for what's going on in their area, what the opportunities are, what the challenges are, and to frame it, we are operating under the rubric of these hearings is about how we present for every student in Vermont an excellent educational opportunity. That's what we're trying to do, and then we're exploring that topic in different settings. If there's a school in Vermont that is small by necessity, as the term is used, it's Canaan, I suspect. So that's why we're here. Also, because you're in the far reaches, and it's a place that we want to try to get into far reaches a little bit as well. So I'm Seth Bongartz. I'm the chair of the Senate Education Committee. On my left here,
Senator Keisha Rom Hinsdale, Chittenden County, and the Senate Majority Leader, and have been holding some CTE work group meetings before session. So I'm gonna keep picking your brain up.
and moving down the line.
Senator Heffernan from Madison County District. Very impressed with this school so far. You guys are doing a great job. Can't say enough from your kids have said.
I'm Terry Williams Steiner from Rutland County. I live in Poultney, which is on the New York State border, and I'm happy to be here.
So we asked kids this morning about, I don't know, what they liked about their school. We tried to draw out of them opportunities that they wish they had that they didn't. And actually, they just came up with they felt like they were really getting a real range of opportunities, but with after, not just in school, but after school, and all of the clubs and teams and everything. So it's really very impressive to listen to them. And so when we're in session, we tend to hear from superintendents. And so we want to hear from people on the ground. And so you're in a small, very rural setting here, small school. And so we just wanted to explore with you, I think that Ryan has set this up with you a little bit within that framework of providing excellent educational opportunity for every Vermont child. What are the opportunities? What are the challenges that you face in this setting? Opportunities that you derive from the setting, and just some of the things that you're doing. And my guess is that sometimes there's things going on that are even individual teachers doing things beyond what the systemic program may be. But we just want to hear about that, what you're doing to help the whole system deliver excellent educational opportunity for everyone.
Are we gonna allow them to introduce themselves first?
Well, and that would be as you go down the line or wherever, just each time you do it, just introduce your name and it's actually what town you live in too. We do that when the kids will be what town you live in. So I don't know how you want to do it.
And what you teach, maybe.
Oh yeah, no, we do. Yeah. So just tell us a little bit about what you do here and try to get into what I was trying to set up there. And then you can start however you want to go through wherever you want to start from.
Everybody's looking at you as the director, right?
So my name is Megan Primo. I've just started my 17th year here. My primary role here is the school nurse, but I do wear a lot of hats. I'm the student council advisor. I am the coordinator for after school and summer programming, staff wellness, and I am also a co-coordinator for our EST plans. So the MTSFs, our educational support teams.
No, go ahead.
Do you want me to go through?
Just spend a few minutes, just spend a couple minutes and just, well, you pick what you want to talk to us about, but I'm interested in after school and summer as much, along with everything else, but just make sure you hit those.
Okay, so I'm gonna start with the nursing part, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
So
Sure.
challenge wise is that we are very remote, as I'm sure you saw as you drove here. So our resources are limited. You know, if people need services, they're driving all the way to Newport. Mental health especially is lacking. We are very fortunate. We have mental health resources and actually clinicians in our building.
Yeah.
But if families needed work outside of that, they're looking at traveling all the way to Newport for that. You know, enrolling in NECA or WIC or needing, you know, more intense services, again, it's all the way to Newport. That's a huge drive when you're dealing with families who already have so many barriers, financial, transportation, et cetera. So from a challenge perspective, I would say that is a huge challenge, medical wise. At the same time, on a positive, I really try to find resources and collaboration. I think we just did our 7th year collaborating with Island Pond Health Center. I have a dental program with them. They come here. We have 30 students that are enrolled in the program.
Can
They
you
came-
explain dental program?
Dental,
Dental.
Sorry.
I have your. My apologies.
We're both veterans.
Yeah.
Very impaired.
thank you for confirming. So, the Island Pond Health Center is a federally qualified health center. So they do need to do some outreach. They come here once a year and do education, grades pre-K through 8. They come once and then they come and actually do cleaning. They bring the chair, the whole thing. They're here. And then we go once a year. We take a bus with all 30 students. They go there, get a cleaning again, get an x-ray of their teeth and see the dentist and get work, whether it be teeth pulled, fillings, whatever it may be. So that has continued to grow. Every year we get more and more students in it. We do, they accept insurance. They have a sliding fee scale. So I assist families to, and if they don't have insurance, I connect them with an outreach provider to get them to try to apply for the Medicaid funding. So those are some positives here, you know, relationship building and trying to find resources in a creative way because they don't just, there's not an overabundance of options, you know. So that is a definite positive to a challenge.
Can I ask?
Sure.
Being you showed us the problem, do you have maybe an idea for an answer for the problem as far as like having to go to Newport? Is there a solution that we could look at to, because Newport is your closest hospital, correct?
There is a hospital in New Hampshire that is 15 minutes away. But as far as mental health goes, no mental health agencies in New Hampshire will accept Vermont Medicaid, Vermont insurance.
So that's something we could work.
You could try. We
Okay.
tried before, but yes, you could certainly try.
All right.
Right 10 minutes down the road is Northern Human Services, it is called, which is similar to Vermont is considered Northeast Kingdom Human Services. So it's the equivalent of the two. And there has been before trying to get them to work together. I don't really know what the challenges are, but I know that Vermont doesn't see New Hampshire doesn't see Vermont. I don't know what the reasoning is, but I know that's been an ongoing problem for years.
At least you give us something to work on. So,
Yeah.
Thanks.
Can I,
Got
have you sought community schools funding for like an on-site family counselor or something?
We do have a community schools grant. If That's
Okay.
what you're in reference to. We do have 2 counselors here who are full.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yep.
They are full.
So they're paid for with the community schools. Or once upon
I
a
don't
time,
know who pays for that. You'd have to ask.
Part of it is paid out of, I believe, our CFP. We use part of our CFP funds this year to do that. Part of it comes out of Medicaid funds. And those are, for this current year, those are the main funding sources. Prior to that, it was some of the art grants we used prior to that
Okay.
shift.
So that's from a nursing sample would be the things that I would touch upon, the biggest for challenges and resources and pediatricians too. I mean, you're talking Newport, there is a pediatrician who comes to Colbert once a week. But that is, also, it's a limitation. Things are just different. You don't have, if you're looking at going to a specialty, you're looking at UVM or you're looking at Dartmouth in Lebanon. So it's just, we use what we have, essentially.
It sounds like you're really working with families as much as kids.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very close. Relationship building is huge.
Yep.
Because it's imperative, because I try very hard to work with them to get what their children need to be successful, because if they're healthy, they're going to be successful academically. There's I believe strongly there's a huge tie between the two.
Sure.
In little things, right now, student council has a snack drive going because we have lots of kids every day who do not have come to school with snacks. Food insecurity is a very huge thing here. We had a grant that I don't know which grant it was, but we lost a grant that did the backpack program. We used to, last year, we had 77 students here that were a part of that program. They got extra food. So food is a huge problem.
And that's not doing backpack.
We lost that funding. I don't know which funding that was that paid for that. Again, I don't remember, but
Last year it was pieced together so we could do it for one more year through a couple of local groups, and then, I'm trying to remember what before that.
And we do have our fresh fruit or vegetable of the day that helps.
we do
out
have
with
that, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Any interaction with Canadian students or affiliated with any organizations over on the other side of the border?
I can't think of anything across the border in Canada, no.
Well, what in New Hampshire?
A lot with New Hampshire,
Right,
yeah.
okay.
So right, because we get students in, after 8th grade in Stewartstown can choose to come here as one of their high schools. And we have a lot of collaboration with our sports teams due to sizes. And so there is a combo team, Pittsburgh and Stewartstown are part of Canaan. So there is New Hampshire students. For after school program, that hat that I wear for summer and after school, we have 3 different grants that we use to fund that. We incredibly grown this year, thankfully to Act 78, we received a center and a program grant. And we operate 4 days a week, Monday through Thursday for after school programming. We have 74 students enrolled in that program. That runs from 3 to 4:30. It is open to students in grades 1 through 12. We surveyed the students of what they were interested in to try to increase the program's availability to increase interest, which definitely made a huge difference because last year it was more like grade. You're either in grade 1 through 3 and you're staying after school, or you're 4 through 6. And we have a wide variety of activities, which has totally raised our numbers of students.
Talk to us a little bit about what some of those are.
We have had Taekwondo, martial arts. We have cooking groups. We have outdoor play. We have Girls on the Run. We actually have a fleet of bikes. We have a biking group. Book club. Whimsy. We have a White Mountain Science Center out of Littleton that is coming to do
Woodworking.
theme. We have woodworking.
Drama.
We have 2 plays that are going to be upcoming. Green
So-
screen.
And are you able to draw into those after-school activities the kids who will really benefit from them the most?
Oh, most definitely.
Okay.
Yes,
Good.
yes. And then the summer program, we run 4 weeks, Monday through Thursday, full days. We also will be doing an adventure camp, which is a 2-week off-site, hopefully at Siskin Moriarty Camp in Derby. We've used them in the past. And they can do things from archery, swimming, kayaking, ropes course. It's a wonderful program. Siskin is actually part of our after-school program also, arts and crafts. I feel like I'm missing some other things, but
Is that a day thing or are they stay overnight now?
day thing, bus, yes. And 4 weeks here is our program here. We have reading and math intervention. PT and OT come once a week. They still receive their speech services. Special ed is here for the ESY services. It's theme-based. Last year, I don't remember our numbers,
We've heard about some this morning.
but we have a large group of kids that attend that as well. which is a, huge benefit to the students and to the children. Prior to my, work here, I used to do some outreach stuff, and I love the Search Institute's developmental assets framework. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that. It's 30 years research-based of providing internal and external assets. So that is the framework that we often utilize when we're thinking about our after-school and summer programs.
Thank you.
Sure if I missed anything.
We have time to jump back.
I was checking things off.
Yeah.
So why don't we,
So my name is Kevin Falls. I am the middle school and high school social studies teacher here. And I'm also rebooting the National Honor Society for the school. Unfortunately, last year we weren't able to utilize that program, but this year we're hoping to turn that around and get some kids involved. I can tell you that, I've only been teaching now for 3 years total and only 2 years in Canaan. And one of the things that I see most about all these kids is that they are very isolated. Their knowledge about the greater world is limited because of the location. Some have not even been out of New England. So when myself and my colleague in the English department, we have been trying to do a better job of planning getting these kids down to Boston or even further. A lot of times this is utilizing grant funds, specifically through the Tillotson Center and a couple of other entities that offer the money. And, I know that the kids really appreciate it. They get very excited because it's something completely new to them and it's something that they can experience. Being up here, one of the greatest challenges is that these kids being in Canaan is challenging for them because if their friends aren't in Canaan, they're in New Hampshire. And bridging that gap is very, very difficult. Especially with like our CTE programs, it used to be that we would utilize one another. And unfortunately we can't anymore, like not to the extent that
Why is that?
like. It's because of the state lines, correct?
Well,
Law.
Yeah,
I think with CTE though, we're still able to share.
share to an extent, correct? Because,
CTE can still share, but it's sharing students in general. They can't
Right.
cross the border
order, right.
per Vermont statute. Don't ask me which one. I just know that that's a barrier.
Where we used to say, the only foreign language teacher was in Colebrook, the kids would take afternoon or morning classes in Colebrook. They'd take a bus from here down there to take those classes, or some students say they didn't have, the math teacher at the moment. They would come here and take our math courses, but they're not switching schools anymore.
When did that end?
That
Within the
ended-
last 5 years. I
5
would
years,
say.
I'd say, yeah.
It was happening we had actually an amazing program
Yeah.
and this sharing and then.
Ring your bells with any staff?
no, this is really interesting here.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
one of my main things, is that we used to be able to do a lot of shared resources.
Yeah,
With staff or programs, because CTE, we only offer a few here, but there was wasn't it mechanical?
mechanics, yeah.
There's
There's
Can't
a few
sound
there,
over.
yeah, I mean, I will say too, I think to our benefit, I think we actually had more students coming to.
Yeah. Yeah.
When we had Running Start, we had a lot of kids come for Running Start, but then did they cap Running Start? I forget, because now that I'm not in the high school anymore. No, they didn't. Okay. They were gonna, I thought, they would talk about if you didn't have so many students in it, you.
Right, and I believe we had the teachers with the expertise to do those things.
Yes.
Similar to CTE, we had the teachers with the certification.
So whatever is going on there is really limiting opportunities for kids on both
Yeah.
sides.
In your
Yeah.
core academic and the other, like, hands-on.
Yeah, I took your wood shop teacher and I'm like, this is a great wood shop. And now the New Hampshire kids can't come to this wood shop.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think that's where I was going with it, was for us, the other Vermont schools just so far away. For Newport, it's really unrealistic for these kids. But if we could look into that, because Colebrook's 15 minutes away, Pittsburgh's 15 minutes away. And these kids, they know each other. The community up here isn't, that state line is nothing for us. Cause
Same with, like,
as,
some of the Canadian people, there's not a,
yeah,
there's an actual international border there, but
yeah.
Yeah. So, okay.
And also, some of the high schoolers were driving to those classes, and it's a lot safer to drive 15 minutes than in the winter time. We've had students go to the CTE center at North Country.
Yeah.
But, the winter time.
that's on the Hampshire side. It did not happen it didn't happen on the New Hampshire side. It's the Vermont statute that is.
Correct. Yes.
I heard both, that it's somehow, it was, well, I thought I heard down in the wood shop,
No.
the New Hampshire students.
Well, I think that the superintendent kind of wrote us a letter
Okay.
here, and I think it was that.
Since we.
It's also a situation of where, you know, they're not excited about.
Yeah.
Sending their students here. So,
We're
you
gonna-
know, in the end, who's really suffering?
Yeah.
I mean, we know,
Right.
we know
Yeah.
the truth.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, you're good. Okay, Melissa Norsworthy, and I'm currently a kindergarten teacher. I've been teaching here for 18 years. I first started as the family and consumer science and health teacher. I've taught various levels in the elementary. Some of the things that we do great is a lot of us wear many hats. So that way we could give kids opportunities. It can be challenging because we're low staff and you know burnout. Just thinking of funding issues too. Our OT now has gone down to 1 day a week. And if have school say on Mondays, I don't know if she's making them up. And
OT.
occupational therapists, we hire out and they were coming to 1.5 days. Now they're down to 1. And in the past, for kindergarten and preschool, I would have her come in and do a whole group to help with the OT skills, and now we can't even do that, just so that way not kind of be preventative or help with their skills right off instead of being 3 years down the road. Oh, they really are having trouble with these fine motor skills. Let's see. Yeah, it's either like funding, which causes low staffing, which impacts other things, but we try to do what we can with wearing multiple hats. One of the best things, we were combined in the elementary, different grades. That was a struggle because I even taught 1 year a combined 1-2, and you're never giving the students everything that they need because you are splitting that math time already between 2 grades. But this year we finally have split up and all grades have just 1 teacher, so that's been good.
I think also kind of to emphasize about when I was looking at the minimum class sizes and things like that. Up here, I know, I cannot remember the percentage of IEP kids and trauma-based kids that we have, but it's a significant amount. And we, when we differentiate and when we have to teach to, those kids that are in academia, that they are brilliant. But then we also have to teach to some kids that are in the 8th grade that can barely read. That can really put a lot of strain on us. And sometimes with the class sizes, it really helps because those kids can really get the actual attention that they deserve. I don't know if you guys feel the same, but
Yeah, I used to have, kindergarten used to have a classroom full classroom just because of safety and their lack of independence. I haven't had that in 5 years. And when you're toileting somebody, because what are you gonna do with the rest of the classroom? And then there's a lot of, I have a pretty big group for behavior issues, and not just me trying to get one settled down.
Yeah.
Now we go to put out this fire, that one started back up, so that's hard too. But one of the other positive things to give kids more opportunity is when we were in the high school, especially, we collaborate across disciplines to try to intermix them,
yeah. Oh, yeah.
create projects, and we do have, are we still doing internships up here? The kids used to have the opportunity because of the local businesses. We're very open to having students.
School to work, I think.
Yeah.
School
Oh, yeah.
work.
Yep, still goes.
That way, if they weren't directly involved in a CTE program, they still could explore that field. That was great.
So you're officially a CTE center here, or?
No,
Not
we're
anymore.
public.
Okay, so if you were to send your students to a CTE, where's the closest school?
Newport.
Newport.
Yeah, okay, an hour, right?
A little over an hour.
I know,
Good.
good-
Yeah, yeah.
Wasn't good.
How many years?
18.
18 and.
Are you a tuitioning school? Does Canaan tuition their students out, or do you receive tuition students?
We-
Receive tuition, yeah.
Okay,
Sort down, they only have, preschool through 8th grade. And at 8th grade, they have school choice, whether it's a New Hampshire school or to come here. And then we have also the choice district that can.
Any K choice has the option to come here.
Yeah, and do you gain a lot of kids from NEK choice?
I think our numbers right now for the current school year are about 15.
For high school?
No, that's all.
That's like 85% of the.
NEK choice has about 290 kids in it.
NEK choice is also huge, and most of the kids were far away.
Yeah.
Right, so a lot of the
Yeah.
kids that come here are from like Norton over, because we're the closest.
Yeah.
And, from Brunswick north. Usually Brunswick, Bloomfield, Leamington, we get a lot of those kids here. Because those are the closest, and we also have buses that go in both those directions.
So the parents really looking at which school is the closest.
Oh,
Yeah.
I think a lot of it for the NEK choice is
Yeah.
definitely that, because they have to get their kids there, so. I think a lot of times people choose, maybe if they work in a particular town, they choose a school that's in that town because it's convenient for them, if that's where the parent works, because you do have to provide, transportation.
So you're a kindergarten teacher
Yeah,
now, I know you've done others. When kids come to you, do you find that they are where you would hope they would be, or is that a lot of what you're doing, trying to bring kids up to the level that you wish they were entering?
that's correct. Every year it seems like they come in with fewer and fewer skills and more behavior. Issues.
Issues.
Yes, and well, and I also, speech is actually a huge thing, and I think it's because this was the COVID babies. Either they were masked or their parents are behind a screen, so you cannot watch the mouth being formed when they're doing sound. So we have a lot of kids that have.
And do a lot of kids who you get, have they not had access to daycare or childcare, or early childhood,
No, they do.
Okay.
And they can come to preschool here
Yeah,
starting at
yeah.
age 3.
starting at age 3, okay?
Yeah. Just-
There is a general lack of.
Yes.
That's what.
Yeah.
There's only,
But in, sorry.
yeah, there's
that's
only
okay.
one like daycare, and that's in Colebrook for basically the entire country.
So I don't know who to answer this, but when you have kids that come in like that, you've got them for a year.
Mhm.
How do you, as a school, what are the things you do to try and, like, by the time they're in 8th grade, get them where they need to be? So that, or maybe by the time they're in 6th grade and ready to go to middle school? How do you do that?
Well, we try our best. We meet them where they're at. We have intervention who's trying to help out. We try to figure out programs. Like we've instilled, socio-emotional programs to help with that.
PBIS.
PBIS, we've been a
Yep.
PBIS school now for a couple of years.
What is that?
Positive behavior intervention systems. Grade level, grade level,
You
yeah,
have some interventionalists,
yes.
okay, who come,
Who also have a shared hat, because sometimes they teach middle school or high school,
okay,
so
and they're also,
sometimes they're not available full time. They can get who they can get.
Generally, I think our intervention is very brief.
Yeah.
So I have kids leaving the room for 15 minutes once a week to try to get them up to, several reading levels. It's like one teacher taking one class time and trying to fit everybody who needs her in. So I feel like there's probably not enough intervention.
so that's a place where you're resource challenged.
Yes,
Right.
it's
Okay.
funding, yeah.
But it's kind of under the umbrella is also MTSS, kind of the same thing, multi-tiered.
Yeah, but that's before they get, well, that's some of the intervention, yeah.
Correct, okay. But
And special ed is, the kindergarten through second or third grade special educator only works 3 days a week. So you also have a shortened
And
time.
is that because of funding?
I'm not
or-
entirely sure. I think it's maybe funding, but also being able to find somebody who's qualified, willing to come and stay here. She actually is a woman who is in retirement. She's phenomenal. So she came out of retirement for us.
Help for-
It's also
Yeah.
getting people to come, you know, I know
Stay.
previously,
Mhm.
we'd been looking for, when I first started, full-time interventionist, and we couldn't even get anybody to. apply.
There's the downside of a small community.
You know, so then people would be like, well, I can pick it up during my preps, or they're qualified to do it here, qualified, you know, we've had a handful of, you know, retired teachers come back in and work for a period of time, a couple days a week, just to try to help out. And it's the same situation with our current interventionist, is they're picking up the pieces in between their regular schedule to try to do what's best for the kids.
And personally speaking, intervention is usually grant funded. So you never know from one year to the next,
Yeah.
if you're really gonna have that position. So it can be kind of scary for somebody who wants to
And that
settle down.
currently is, right.
Right, it's still grant funded, yeah.
Yeah.
Because again, we don't have the resources, you know, if we had to put the amount we get in grants into the general budget, I mean, it's already hard now. Never mind adding.
And previously, we used to have to write our own grants. The last couple of years, we finally have a grant, a person who's wearing many hats, but one of it is the grant
The
writer.
grant letter for the school.
Yeah.
Okay.
And to just tap on to something that Melissa said, so our after-school and summer program is the only option. So because we are so small, it's not like parents have like a YMCA or rec centers to choose for, like, this is it.
Yeah.
To be very clear that
You don't have
there's not.
girls and boys club of.
Correct. This is the only option. And daycare, the closest actual daycare that you would call a daycare is in Colbrook. They are all full.
Yeah.
Everything here is in-home care, which, you know, it's, you know, a mom's staying home with her own kids, has a very small number of kids she can see anyway. So if kids aren't here after school, they're either with a family member or an older sibling or home alone.
And our after school and summer program is free. If they were to do the summer program in Colebrook, it costs a lot of money.
Because you're not a resident.
So one of the potentially good things with the after-school summer is that you get the full range of socioeconomics
Mhm.
of kids
Yes.
Oh,
in
yeah.
it, which you might not if you had, ironically, or, so.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
So
And we do use, again, the great thing I think about a K through 12 school is it is great to use older students with
Yeah.
younger students.
Yeah.
It's just a huge thing. And we've actually added an after-school program called Helping Hands, which older kids can choose to take part in a day. And they're just in groups with the younger kids helping out. And it's a beautiful thing, honestly, to see. It
Mhm.
just is. So that's been really great too. And it provides some of them, they're Key Club members, so it provides them community service hours at the same time.
That was my bias in that question is, I would think you could take good readers of any age and help kids who aren't able to read well. That's kind of what I did in LA with kids who didn't speak English. And it was great for me, you know, so we've seen so much community among the kids. Can good readers just go one-on-one with kids who are struggling and help them?
Part of that is scheduling,
Mm-hmm.
being able to align the older kids that, or the ones that are more capable to be paired with the younger ones.
Mm-hmm.
And also kind of doing a little training with them so they know what they need to do.
Mm-hmm.
But you do use some of that anyway with your DI groups.
Yeah,
correct?
yeah. Well, they're actually teacher led.
We just make sure we get through everybody. We should keep.
Can we skip over to Amy real quick? She's
Yeah, I've got like
Oh.
4 minutes to my next class. First, I'm the K to 12 art teacher. This is my 30th year here, so I'm really old. And I also, do the new teacher mentoring program, try to keep people here. And I do grade level 2 meetings and I'm a class advisor. I'm also a parent. I think that as a small school, we do a really good job of figuring out what kids need and trying our best to get it for them. Case in point is that my daughter wanted to take Korean this year and Vermont virtual learning, whatever it is. VLEX does not have Korean. So we found a spot, school agreed to let her take it, place out of California. Long story short, that's just one example of our school providing things for kids. I do know that there is a small pot of money for kids who want to do these extra things, like go to Governor's Institute in the summer or take part in, other summer programs. There's a limited pot of money for that. And perhaps if there was more, we could get other kids involved in sort of out of, whether it's virtual, online, or through field trip. The field trip thing has really kind of cut in. We haven't had field trips for the last year or two. That money's just been cut. So taking kids to Boston, to the Boston Museum of Art, and to see a performing, I usually try to work in a performing art event to that, gone. And so I think a lot of teachers are feeling sort of stifled by that, and then just having the kids have that opportunity to get out of Dodge and see something that they haven't seen before. One year it was an Indian sitar player, and I thought, oh my goodness, what are these kids gonna think of that? But it was such an odd experience that Boston Museum told the performer that we were there as a school. They mentioned us. You see the kids light up, and they were so engaged in that, when most of them really just like country music or whatever it is, So those experiences I think are really, really important for our kids.
And that was for the whole class. It wasn't only
I think
motivated.
that generally I take my classes first.
Yeah.
But then there's usually room on the bus.
Mm.
So you take anybody who will want to go.
Mm.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name.
Amy Kiefer,
Amy.
yes.
Well, I may have missed it, but you have pre-K here too?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're pre-K. Do it all.
And that's a full day, pre-K.
Elementary school.
Everyone want to pick up?
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Pretty
Okay.
cool.
Thank you for the
Yeah,
opportunity.
thank you, Amy.
Yeah.
My name is Todd Nichols, and I've been teaching here for 25 years. I've been working with kids in some capacity educationally for over 30 years, 32 years. My role here is the K-12 physical educator, as well as grades 7 through 12 CTE for emergency services, focusing on firefighting and emergency medical services. I have page 1 here of Act 73, and I think this is where I'm gonna kind of go with our challenges. It says here, it says the most enduring legacy of Brigham, meaning Brigham versus the state of Vermont, is the state's responsibility to ensure substantially equal educational opportunities for all Vermont students. And that has resonated with me for decades, because that has been part of education quality standards. And so therein lies, and in my view, the big challenge with Canaan schools. How do we ensure substantially equal educational opportunities for a school like Canaan? Because I can tell you that, I've been to other schools in different capacities, either visiting because of trainings or visiting because of invites. But anyway, when you look at other schools, many other schools, when I take it from the physical education perspective, they have fitness rooms or a weight room, what used to be, for years ago. We don't have that, and we haven't had that since I've been here. We currently don't have access to our locker rooms because of ADA compliance, and it's nobody's fault. It's just that the building's old. And we don't have a CTE center. But with those challenges, we leverage what we can, what we have. So what do we leverage? We use our Canaan Community Forest for agriculture CTE. We use local old buildings for our building trades and restoration, and we have for decades. And for myself, I'm also a first responder in our town, our interstate international department. We also serve New Hampshire into Canada, and I've been part of that department for going on 22 years, which kind of got me to where I am, in addition to doing some physical education stuff for Canaan schools. So I leverage using the fire department and the 45th Parallel EMS, which is just across the river, for classrooms. So we leverage what we can to make it substantially equal as best we can. And I think we talked about this before. Teachers here, and for my whole tenure so far, teachers have always had multiple endorsements to help our students across, almost across the board.
Everyone nodded when you said that, and I want to make sure I understand the power of what that means. You're getting more credentials to
Correct.
help your students.
Correct,
Okay.
right, I have, my endorsements are K-12 is, actually, pre-K-12 is what the endorsement says. And then I'm also endorsed for CTE grade 7 through 12 emergency services. And I've actually had 7th and 8th grade students for CTE, like pre-tech, and I've had some 9th grade pre-tech classes. But when with the challenges that come around, it's like, okay, funding can be a challenge. Sometimes numbers is a challenge.
Yeah.
I think you heard about that this morning. I talked to one of my students, Riley. And I just got those guys going and doing some of their clinical work out at the fire station. So those are some challenges. I'm going to speak more from a CT angle because I see that's more of our challenges truly lie. And moving forward, this is going to be for you guys to decide. But when you start talking about class size, that really, really puts us in a tough spot here at Canaan Schools, as you can probably see. Canaan, in my view, Canaan really does a good job with small class size. We're limited resources. You can see that. And if we're kind of forced to, hem ourselves in with these class size rules, that's going to take away from the true solid, individualized education that we're allowed to afford these students. And I'm sure maybe you heard about that from some of the students earlier today. So I see that being a future challenge moving forward, something to think about. And as for my own program, I have, we have a dip in students and then there's a possible resurgence coming out after a year or so. Well, what does that mean? If you look at numbers, does that mean we're going to sunset a program because next year we don't have enough, but maybe 2 years from now we do? So those are difficult decisions. And I don't think that, I don't think it's quite fair to our students because we're small, to put the additional challenge on us, with class size. I know that doesn't exist for CTE currently with the law, but just overall, just some things to think about.
You want to
Yes, go ahead.
One of the things I'd like to emphasize, before I was a teacher, I was a postmaster. And I heard everything in the North Country. And one of the things, so that was always said, and this was before I was a teacher, was, and specifically in Canaan, was that across the river, other communities would fight for their kids to come here. And whether it be for Todd's EMS program or Denise's business program, or just come and study science or history over here. And it resonated with me to become a teacher because I saw so many of these individuals, and I still see it now. They know that they don't have the money, so they get trained for it themselves, and they do it themselves. And it resonates in the community. They know it. So.
Well, so one thing, and I'm gonna try not to get myself in trouble here, but one of the things that we haven't really heard a lot about in the plan is the teachers' salaries. And from what it sounds like, if a teacher goes above and beyond, or you should have like an additional skill identifier that makes the pay grades equal across the state, because they're not. And I think that's one of the issues that I'm going to focus on is that we need to get that educational pay equity in there too. In Act 60, the original plan was good, but it just they never quite got there as far as having the same resources. So the schools ended up picking up the slack, and the teachers usually are the ones that do it. So I applaud you guys for what you're doing here because it's a community school, it really is.
Yep.
It's across state lines, and it's small by necessity, but it's small because that's what you are.
And what I'll close with, speaking of community, for my program, is that over the past 12 years that I've been running the program, my program produces local first responders. Not every one of them. But at the other end, it's kind of like It's how students get their introduction to like medical school, and can I do it? A lot of my students go up to be nurses. One, I think, is getting ready to residency to be an ER doctor. And there's, and up and down both sides of the river, I have a lot of my students that, you know, that are first responders, firefighters, you know, so the challenge is, how do we make things substantially equal? I think you guys could help us with that on some level, but what do we do? My notes right here, we leverage our community. Whether we have 3 students in a class or 30, that's what we do. Thanks for listening.
Every community that's rural does that. I know every volunteer fire and rescue organization is short of people. And they partner with the schools, kids get involved, they get additional training, and that just kind of adheres to the community mindset too.
Well, but I'm gonna toot my horn a little bit. I get students credentials. So there's training and then there's credentials. I'm able to offer credentials.
One more question, that we make sure we get to on the table, we have to leave
Did you
that.
get-
Yeah, well,
I'm sorry.
I just want to put that
But
with
we-
every, no worries. With every policy we create or rules that we send down there's always an exception to the rule. And like this school up in this area is an exception to the rule. It's our job to make sure that that exception gets well noted and doesn't get, unlike down where I am, I had our Ripton school only had 28 children going to it. And they couldn't find enough teachers and the overhead, so they finally closed that school and moved them 15 minutes down to another school. Parents happy about that? No, but at least there was something close. It'd be like closing and going over to New Hampshire. You don't have that option if we're gonna just keep a Vermont school. And from what we see here, it gives us a lot more knowledge to say, hey, this is an exception to the rule, especially up here in Essex County, that let's not mess with it. If anything, see what else.
And
we
that's
can do.
pretty important because, and maybe Beth can correct me if I'm wrong, I wasn't at the board meeting, I wasn't directly at the board meeting, but I believe our board was looking at numbers and doing some combining in light of Act 73, is that correct?
Yeah, we've been looking at a lot of options, you know, because we hear it. For those that don't know, I'm the business manager.
Okay, everyone's looking at you.
My name is Beth, I'm the business manager, and this is my second time at Canaan, and this time around, I've been here at the school, working through my 4th year. And since I've started, the bottom line has always been the problem, you know, because we hear from Montpelier, you can't be over 5%. You have to be between 2 and 5%. And I mean, when you have to account for raises and you have to account for health insurance jumping 15% a year, you're now asking the district to figure out how to eat that. And where we're already, you know, so resource restricted, and we try to spend our money the best way that benefits our students. I mean, we reconfigure, we do crazy things, you know, ask people, like they were talking before about getting dual certs. Can you do this and can you do that to try to help, you know, and maybe not replace the teacher, you know, and try to use, if someone has open spots in their schedule, to try to use those resources to still offer our kids the best education possible. But it definitely is a challenge. I mean, you know, when we're being told this is what you have to keep your budget in or it's gonna get rejected, you know, it's not easy. And the same thing with bringing back the NEEP index and the excess spending threshold, the threshold per pupil cost is insane.
One thing that may work well for you is if we do a true foundation formula where everybody pays the same per 100, and then the money follows the weighted child back, you may end up a better resource than you are now under the new foundation formula. I'm hoping that would be the case for you.
Did you run the numbers?
Oh yeah, currently last year we were penalized. There's probably, you know, I haven't seen our ADM yet because those were just due at the end of the week, but there's a good chance, you know, it only went up a couple $100 what our threshold we're supposed to be below per weighted ADM. And I mean,
Hopefully that'll.
What is your pupil spending? I don't know how broken down that is between the.
so basically, it's not broken down between the areas. It's probably roughly between, I would say 15 and 17. I don't have the number.
Okay.
I mean, because we haven't finalized anything yet,
Mhm.
but I mean, that's where we were last year. That's
Okay.
based on last year's numbers.
Can I ask, did you get international firefighting grant from the federal government that got bought back.
For the school now.
Okay. Somebody told me that Essex County lost a big firefighting grant between Canada, New Hampshire and Vermont schools. Like a firefighting training program.
No, it wasn't ours.
Okay.
No.
And also, I think what helps the budget is that we're combined sports with New Hampshire, so we share the budget.
Right, we
For
share
the
the
fall.
athletic
Yeah.
budget, which benefits us, Pittsburgh and Stewartstown, because they have the choice, we partner mainly with Pittsburgh, but Stewartstown has the choice to play it whichever. A lot of them come here from straight across the river. So that's a budget that's shared, and that's been going on now, almost.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that way we can still have sports.
We can still have sports, just because, again, like you said, our geographical location, we are small by necessity, not by choice, you know. You know,
So I think, my district, I think they have. Well, they're taking credit for being the lowest spending districts in the state. I think they're like 11,500. And all their budgets last time passed except for one. And then the next time they put the vote on, they passed, but, you know, they all sit there and point at it. They had to be lower spending to get their budget passed. For one thing, so you all sacrificed a little bit. So what did they give up? You know, they must have given something up to get that cost per student down. And that's what this, the funding formula is supposed to alleviate that. So everybody's on the same footing. The ADM, you know, could be one way or the other, but that hopefully is gonna benefit every school.
So, we haven't gotten to you yet.
Well, Denise Wood. I teach business and computer classes, and in the afternoon, I have the Business Administration and Technology CTE program. We call it BAT. And most of you see my classroom. My program is, I would put it up against any other business program in the state. My students, because I teach at White Mountains Community College as well, I'm able to offer more college classes, dual enrollment. So the minimum that my students, if they complete my program, the minimum credits they will earn 18. I've had students earn more. So the majority of my students, when they enter college, are usually entering as sophomores. 2 years ago, I had a student enter as a junior. She's an accounting major. So that's pretty cool. We do a lot of hands-on stuff. We have the school store, and that benefits the entire school as well. On Fridays, the elementary students come down, and it is just a buzz of activity. They look forward to that. We also work with local businesses. Border Tool and Die, just down the street, for example, they approached me last year, and they were looking to rebrand, come up with a new logo and a new sign. And they had my students tackle that project. And it was great. My students absolutely loved that. And they actually went with one of the designs. I have a previous student who opened, she just celebrated her 1-year anniversary being open as my favorite hairstylist in Colebrook on Main Street. She's going to come and talk to my students about some of the challenges she's faced in the last year, go over some marketing strategies for them as well. FBLA, Future Business Leaders of America, that CTSO program, I embed that right into my afternoons because, as I've already mentioned, we are so isolated that one of the hardships of this area is students are involved in many things. You guys heard this morning. So to ask a student who's already doing athletics to come in after school to participate in FBLA, probably not going to get as high a level of participation. And so I've built that right into my curriculum. And as a result, they actually create quality projects. And at the state level, I've had the majority of my students every year placed in the top 3. And that qualifies them to attend the National Leadership Conference. And 2 years ago, we went to Florida for the nationals. Last summer, it was California, and this year it will be Texas. And where does that money come from? Well, we don't get any Perkins funding because we're so little. And so my students,
They took that away 2 years ago. We lost it.
You had it before?
we get, yeah, we get nothing.
We used to
Um,
get Perkins and we lost it due to our size.
That's it was a federal only, or was it passed through the state?
It was passed through, it was a pass through the state.
Okay, so we made that.
Yeah.
Yeah, was that because of national rules or was that because of?
It was because-
position?
I can't
Yeah.
speak to whose decision it was. I just know it was based on our size.
Okay.
That's
And I-
also when we shifted
And I
to
don't know,
comprehensive high
I'll forget
school.
Denise, I don't know if those are state pass-through rules or federal rules.
That's what
I don't
wondering.
know.
We can.
That's what
I'm not sure
Figure that out.
either.
Yeah,
But then we know we could supplement it if it was a federal.
because we used to get 20 to 30,000, if I remember correctly. I mean, that was going out when I started, so.
And that funding used to pay for the industry recognized credentials, the RRCs,
Mm.
all their certifications. So now that is all on our local budget now because we get nothing for that. And so that creates a little bit of a challenge. And my students, if they've worked that hard, I want them to experience life outside of their own country. As I've already mentioned, some have never even been to St. J.
Mm.
And so to actually leave New England and get on an airplane and be at a venue where there are 16,000 plus students is a really big deal. And they get to improve their public speaking skills because they are presenting their projects live. And so we look for grants, we ask for local donations. My students present at the Tillotson board, they present at Kiwanis. They do a lot of legwork and a lot of fundraisers. We just had a father-daughter dance this past weekend, and all of that money goes. So we prepare for it. And
That was great, Denise, by the way.
okay. My students, do keeping up with Canaan videos, what's going on in the school. And then they wanted to do podcasts, which you guys got a taste of this morning, but we didn't have the equipment. And so we applied for grants, and I also got, a grant through VREC, Vermont Rec, yeah, small, rural education, that's what it was. And we were able to get the equipment, and you guys got to see the recording studio, and they absolutely love it, and the community loves it too. So I guess the biggest thing for me is the loss of Perkins funding. It really creates a challenge for our students taking CTE because they go to another CTE center. There may be other opportunities that we've been creative and tried to afford them with those as well.
Well, what you have done is show them that if they want something and they work for it, they can get it. And that is something a lot of other schools,
That's
don't do. So the life skills are, way above some big schools that what you're doing, way above.
One of the things, I took a group of students to Montpelier last year. They were very interested in everything that was going on in Vermont education. We were talking about the United States government and how it works and how it functions, and they wanted to see the State House and everything. And first, I was surprised because all the boys showed up in full suits and the girls showed up and they were looking immaculate. I was like, what happened? But one of the biggest compliments I got down there was a senator walked up to me. I can't remember who it was, but he said, your students have been some of the most diligent and well-spoken kids we've ever had here. And I think it pertains a lot to that these kids have done a lot with a little. And that's not just because it's not just at school. A lot of them don't have the best of home lives. Or they've had to struggle in one way or another, sacrifice. And they unfortunately, some of them are numb to it. They know that this is part of it.
I will say one of the great benefits to a small school, I really know my students.
Mhm.
I really get to know them. And you think about the CTE program, I have them all afternoon, every day for 2 years. So I really get to know them. I get to know their families. And I feel privileged because I get them on the tail end. I get to help them make that next step, whether it's going into college, into a career they're choosing, or opening a business. And so I think that's one of the benefits of a small school as well.
Yeah.
By the way, I hope you get to watch the video of your students talking to us first earlier today. You're rock stars for them. I mean, I wrote down all your names. They, you know, like highlight of their life were these trips, clearly. So,
Great.
I have been visiting a lot of CTEs and doing a lot of CTE work, and I was telling your principal, there's a secret sauce here because all the cool kids are doing CTE. It's the cool place to be. We certainly need more of that. My chair has heard me say this, and now your principal has, so the important people won't be blindsided, but I'm working on a proposal so that CTE programs can be degree conferring. It's really challenging when some people who don't know them very well are responsible for whether or not they graduate or are going to be successful in their next steps. And in a lot of ways, I think kids are getting caught in a system that's not designed for 60% of students, who are the ones who don't need to go to college to be successful in their next steps. So nobody's said no to me yet, which is going to be hard for me to hear if somebody does, because I would love your reaction. I can't think of a better way to finally free, you know, kids who are on a different path from feeling othered and held back in their passion.
I would like to add that I think the best definition of here is we are small but mighty. I think that we are very resource-based and try to provide the best resources, education, and opportunities for students that they might not other have. And we have had 3 groups, I believe, last year, FFA, P Club, and FBLA, all win the level of national.
Oh, they told us. I thought we were gonna see some medals or something, like
trophies.
One of the
they
twins
told
there,
us.
one of the-
You really should watch.
It's
It's lovely.
It is a true community. It
Yeah.
is from students to teachers to parents, like it is to businesses. It is a true community, and it is something that people want their children to have, that they feel great about, that it is nothing like, you just can't compare this to anything else. I don't know how else to say that. You just can't.
So if we have just a couple minutes left, I was gonna give, and I think in a way you just did what I was gonna ask people to do, which was give us the one takeaway that you want us to leave with, that it's, you think we heard a lot from you, but if you want to just, we just got the first one.
I think for me, like whenever I think of Canaan now, the school is the heart of the community. Everything happens here. It's the meeting ground. It's where kids get unique opportunities. It's where they can truly find themselves in a safe environment. They, you know, as Denise said, we get to know these kids really, really well. And the funny thing is that they continue to surprise us. Like, I probably learned just as much from my kids as they do from me. And, you know, you won't find a teacher in this building that wouldn't put the students before. Like, they would put the students before themselves at every possible opportunity.
I actually graduated from here and came back because I enjoyed it so much and wanted to raise my family in this area. And I think we see a lot of kids, whether they come back and work in the area and start a business, or they'll come back and visit and be like, hey, Mr. Nichols, guess what I'm doing? You'll see a lot of kids on their school breaks or other times in the year, they'll come back and visit us and let us know how they're doing. So I think we're doing a good job raising students, or they're helping us, you know, raising our professions too. And be successful.
And you're really what you're saying in a way, this is home.
Yes.
By the way, can I just say, I have a 1-year-old and a 2.5-year-old, and I want someone to do like a Vermont PBS version of Miss Rachel, and I like talk about mouth sounds. It sounds so like, but I think I found the person. I think it's great for it, if you're interested.
Yes, I'm gonna go back to the Brigham case and just say that, you know, I'm gonna put the onus back on you guys, the big takeaway. Remember, it says ensure substantially equal educational opportunities. And moving forward, you know, please don't hem a school like, or us Canaan or schools like us, hem us in with like those class sizes, because it's just gonna really hurt our students. I'd say that'd be the biggest takeaway. You have some good groundwork there already for some exemptions. I'd say for a school like ours, you know, we've always been fiscally responsible. You know, I say we're not broke. We don't need to be fixed. Thank you.
Boy.
Yeah, it's harder to put it.
So I guess I'll piggyback on that. The lack of Perkins funding, if that could somehow be addressed or some alternative, because we have fixed costs and we have just a handful of students. You divvy that up, your cost per pupil. Ours is going to be larger than others, even though we have pared back as far as we possibly can without really hurting our students. And so even just one size fits all for the smaller schools, it doesn't always work. That number, it hurts. I guess that's where I'll be back.
Sorry. The opportunities that a school this size offers for the community is unbelievable. I mean, you know, I choose to bring my child here because of that, because of the opportunities that aren't at other places. You know, between the clubs and the after school and the summer school program and the sports, you know, I think we do really well with what we have. You know, we work hard to keep it, you know, at a decent budget amount. We're very fiscally responsible. I don't think we have, you know, we try not to be excessive, and we always try to get, you know, the best possible for the students. In the end, that is the, you know, the goal is, are we providing what is needed
For your students,
for the students? Absolutely.
they said, when we asked them, what more could you ask for? That's what we heard right there.
Yeah.
They believe they're getting everything that they need.
You know, we really
No, I don't know how you think it's much better than
as
that.
administration, you're in a real hard position, you know, and as a group, we try to do the best we can that will benefit our students.
We heard that.
Thank
Well,
you.
You're welcome, and thank you.
Yeah,
And
thank you.
And to, you know, reply to that, 99% of our students, it's all they know.
Yes.
I know,
We
I
all
want you to have
know what-
orchestra and band.
As you were saying, they don't get the walls, there's walls around Keene. Not literally, but you don't get very far away, and that happens down our way, and that you've got families that just don't get her. And even though they watch the news and see what else is out there, why do I want to leave? And if Canaan's as nice as it is, why would you want to leave?
So thanks.